This is Meet Sean, where we break down real life topics insurance, annuities, real estate, travel planning, and home ownership so you can make smarter moves. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
You know that feeling, right? It's a scorching day. You've been dreaming about walking into your house, into that blast of cold air.
Yeah.
You open the door, expecting an oasis, and instead, it just feels heavy.
Sticky. That's the word that always comes to my mind.
Yes, sticky. Or, maybe the living room's an icebox, but you walk 10 feet down the hall and the bedroom feels like a sauna.
And then you get the utility bill.
And you realize you're paying a premium
Yeah.
for that, for mediocrity.
It's a classic paradox, isn't it? We
Right.
pay for comfort, we expect it to just work, and instead we get this mystery. And the first instinct is always to, blame the thermostat.
Or go outside and just glare at that big metal box humming away.
It's not trying hard enough.
Exactly, you have failed me, box.
But today we're diving into a stack of technical guides and expert advice from the WSV group, and they suggest our anger is, well, it's completely misplaced.
Mm-hmm.
We think of HVAC as just an appliance, like a big toaster, but these sources frame it as something way more complex, to the lungs and heart of the home. And that's not just a poetic metaphor. It really holds up when you look at the actual engineering. When you go through these papers on ductwork physics, on the economics of it all, and air quality science, one theme just screams out.
Just
Systemic efficiency.
systemic. That's the key word there.
Precisely. It's not about one part. It's not just about making cold air. It's about the physics of how that air moves, the resistance it's fighting, and the biology of what's in that air. It's a closed loop.
So our mission today is to get way beyond just, change your filter. We're going to get into the weeds of airflow physics, tackle this invisible enemy called static pressure.
Which is the root of most evil, according to this data.
And we're going to debunk that very American idea that bigger is always better for your AC unit.
And I promise you, once you get these concepts, especially static pressure, what they call load calculation, you will never look at the vents in your house the same way again.
I'm already looking at my ceiling suspiciously. My attic, I think, is hiding some secrets.
Oh, if the data on attic ductwork is anything to go by, it's not just hiding secrets. It's probably burning your money.
Okay, well, let's just rip the Band-Aid off then. The WSV group documents, they start with this claim I found pretty surprising. They say the most critical component of your comfort isn't that shiny new unit outside.
Right. Not the thing with the brand name on it.
No, it's the delivery system, the ductwork. They call it the invisible thief.
And it makes perfect sense when you think about energy transfer. I mean, you can have the most advanced engine in the world, but if you put it in a car with flat tires and a clogged exhaust, you're not going anywhere.
And the ductwork is where the efficiency just dies.
It's where it goes to die.
So this brings us to that term static pressure. The guides mention it over and over, but let's translate that from engineer speak. What does it actually mean inside a tube of air?
The easiest way to think about it is like blood pressure. Your HVAC is a circulatory system. The blower is the heart. It's pumping.
Okay.
Static pressure is the resistance that air faces as it moves through the veins, your ducts.
So high resistance is the enemy.
In excess, yes. I mean, every turn, every filter, it adds a little bit of resistance. That's normal. But when your ducts are too small, or they're kinked or crushed, that resistance just spikes.
Okay, let's unpack this. When the resistance spikes, what is the machine actually doing?
It's basically panicking. The sources are really clear that high static pressure is a leading cause of blower motor failure.
Why?
Think about trying to breathe through a tiny coffee stirrer. Your lungs have to work 10 times harder. The blower motor does the same thing. It pulls more electricity to fight that resistance.
Which generates heat.
A ton of heat.
All right.
And eventually the motor it burns out.
So you're paying more on your bill to slowly kill your own very expensive equipment. That's a terrible investment.
That's the definition of a bad investment. And you have no idea it's even happening.
Now, the sources talk about two problems here. You've got high pressure, the blocked vein issue, and then you have the leaky duct problem.
Right. And they often happen together, which is just chaos for the system.
The analogy I thought of was trying to drink a really thick milkshake. High static pressure is the milkshake being too thick.
Yeah, you turn purple trying to get it up the straw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And leaky ducts are like trying to drink it through a straw that has cracks all down the side.
Perfect analogy. You're just sucking air, you're getting some milkshake, but mostly you're getting nothing. And in your house, that nothing is just lost energy.
And that's where the hotspot mystery gets solved, right? That back bedroom that's never cool.
It is. If you have a big leak in the duct run to that room, The air pressure just drops off. The air takes the path of least resistance and leaks out into your wall or your attic. You're paying to cool your drywall.
Speaking of cooling things you shouldn't, the section on attic ducts reads like a horror story.
It's a critical flaw in millions of homes. I mean, think about an attic in the summer. It's an oven up there. It can hit 140, 150 degrees.
And we're trying to push 55-degree air through that oven.
Through a thin metal tube. We talk about delta T, the temperature difference. If the air leaves your unit at 55 but travels through a 150-degree attic, by the time it gets to you, it might be 65 degrees. You've lost tons of cooling capacity.
But if there's a leak, that's even worse.
Much worse. Because of something called the Venturi effect.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Tell us about that.
It's fluid dynamics. Fast-moving air creates low pressure. So if there's a hole in that duct, it doesn't just blow cold air out. It can actually suck that hot, dirty, fiberglass-filled attic air into your clean air stream.
You're kidding. So you're actively injecting superheated, gross air into the air you just paid to cool down.
Correct. You are fighting yourself. It explains why the system runs all day and never shuts off.
So the fix is duct sealing. But the guides are pretty clear. This isn't a weekend DIY project with a roll of tape.
No, and ironically, what we call duct tape is terrible for ducts. The adhesive just dries up and fails. Professionals use aerosolized sealants or mastic paste, and they use pressure testing equipment to actually measure the leakage.
And the whole point is to lower that static pressure.
You lower the pressure, you lower the workload on the blower. It's preventative medicine for your HVAC.
All right, so we fixed the vanes. Let's talk about the heart itself, the hardware. The sources spend a lot of time on this shift towards heat pumps.
Which is a term that really confuses people because of the name.
Right. Heat pump. I don't want a heater in July.
Exactly. But a heat pump is just a reversible air conditioner. The source defines it perfectly. It moves heat. It doesn't generate it. In summer, it moves heat from inside your house to the outside. In winter, it finds heat in the cold outdoor air and moves it inside.
It's a mover, not a maker. And that's where the efficiency is.
That's everything. Burning fuel to create heat is intensive. Moving heat that already exists is incredibly efficient, especially for milder climates.
The guide also has these maintenance tips that seem almost too simple, like keeping the outdoor unit in the shade.
It's basic physics. If the unit is baking in the sun, the refrigerant has to work way harder to get rid of the heat it pulls from your house. Same thing with airflow. If you have big bushes planted right up against it, you're choking it. It has to breathe.
Okay, so let's say my unit is it's dead. I'm standing there with a contractor, and my instinct is to say, give me the biggest, most powerful one you have.
And the source material just screamed, stop!
But why? Why wouldn't I want the extra power? If a 3-ton unit is good, isn't a 5-ton unit better?
And that is the bigger is better myth. It is probably the most damaging misconception out there. It causes something called short cycling.
Short cycling. Break that down.
Okay, an air conditioner does two things. It cools the air that's changing the temperature, but its second and maybe more important job is dehumidification.
Right, taking out the sticky feeling.
And to do that, air has to run over the cold coil for a while. If your unit is too big, it blasts the air cold so fast that the thermostat shuts it off in like 5 minutes.
But the moisture is all still there.
The moisture is still there. So now you have a room that's 72 degrees, but it's 70% humidity. It feels cold and clammy, like a cave.
A cold, damp cave. That sounds awful.
It is. And because the unit is constantly turning on and off, you wear out the compressor twice as fast.
So by trying to be powerful, you end up uncomfortable and broke. What's the right way to do it?
The source insists on a proper load calculation, a manual J they call it. It's not a guess. They measure your windows, your insulation, ceiling height, everything to find the Goldilocks size. Not too big, not too small.
Just right. Okay, so once we have the size, there's the sticker on the side, SEER rating, or now it's SEER 2.
It stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. Think of it like MPG for your house.
Bet.
The 2 just means it's a new, more realistic testing standard.
More realistic because it accounts for our terrible ductwork.
It actually tests at higher static pressure, so yes, exactly. A higher number just means it uses less electricity to do the same job.
But it also means a much higher price tag up front.
It does. But the experts in these papers frame it as a long-term math problem. A high SEER 2 unit might save you, say, $40 or $50 a month. Over 15 years, that's thousands of dollars.
Plus, the sources mention utilities often give you big rebates for the efficient ones.
Right, so you can shift the cost from a monthly waste on your energy bill to a one-time investment in an asset.
Okay, so let's recap where we are. Our ducts are sealed. We have a properly sized heat pump with a good SEER2 rating. The temperature is perfect. But what are we actually breathing?
And that's the third pillar. Indoor air quality, or IAQ.
The source calls out the antagonists: dust, pollen, pet dander, the usual suspects.
The usual suspects, but when your house is sealed up tight, they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And the solutions go way beyond just a basic filter.
They throw around this acronym MERV.
Minimum efficiency reporting value. It's a scale, basically 1 to 16 for homes.
Sounds like a butler. I'll get that for you, Merv.
It does. But it's really a measure of how fine the filter mesh is. A cheap MRV4 filter that'll stop cat hair. MRV13 can actually catch bacteria and smoke particles.
But wait, we have to be careful, right? Going back to segment 1, if I put a super restrictive MRV16 filter on an old system with bad ducts.
You've just created a static pressure nightmare. You've built a wall in your airway. You have to balance filtration with airflow. You can literally choke your system with a filter that's too good.
It really is an ecosystem. You pull one lever, another one moves. Now, beyond filters, the source talks about UV light technology.
Yeah, this is fascinating. These are specific UVC lights you install inside the ductwork right on the cooling coil.
And the goal is sterilization.
It's a kill zone. The inside of an HVAC system is dark, it's damp. It's a perfect petri dish for mold and bacteria. The UV light scrambles their DNA so they can't reproduce.
Scrambles the DNA. I like that. Now, speaking of damp, there's a huge emphasis on dehumidifiers.
This ties right back to the short cycling problem. If you live in a humid place, the AC alone sometimes can't keep up. The key is that mold needs moisture. If you can keep the humidity below 50%, mold biologically cannot grow.
It's proactive versus reactive.
Exactly. You should be creating an environment where it's impossible for mold to exist, not just cleaning it after it shows up.
And for the physical stuff, the dust bunnies.
Right. UV light can't vaporize dust. For that, the source recommends professional duct cleaning every few years to physically remove all that debris.
So if we pull this all together, we started out complaining about a high bill and a hot room, but fixing it is a holistic thing.
You can't just treat the symptom, you have to treat the entire system.
Let's recap the 3 pillars from the WSV papers. First, the delivery.
The ductwork. You have to seal the leaks, especially in the attic, to lower that static pressure. Stop trying to drink the milkshake through a broken straw.
Second, the heart.
The hardware. Ignore the bigger is better myth. You need a precise load calculation, and you should look at a high SEER2 heat pump as a financial tool, not just an expense.
And third, the actual environment.
Air quality. It's not enough to be cool. The air has to be clean. Use the right MRV filter for your system, UV light for the germs, and humidity control to starve out the mold.
And why should someone listening care about all this?
Well, it's a double bottom line, really. It's your physical health. You breathe this air all night long. And it's your financial health. You're spending the money one way or another. You can either spend it on an upgrade, or you can spend it paying the utility to cool your attic insulation.
That's the thing, isn't it? The money is leaving your account either way.
Precisely.
Well, before we let everyone go grab a flashlight and look in their utility closet, do you have one final thought for us to chew on?
I do. This whole conversation, it brings up a really interesting paradox of the modern home. We talk about sealing everything up, the ducts, the windows, to make the house tight for energy efficiency. But think about the unintended consequence of that.
If nothing gets out.
Then nothing gets out. As we seal our homes to save energy, we are trapping pollutants inside with us. The off-gassing from carpets, cleaning sprays, the carbon dioxide we breathe out.
Oh, wow. So the more efficient we get, the more toxic the air inside could become.
In a drafty old farmhouse, the wind just blew the bad stuff away. In a modern, tight, high-efficiency home, those active measures we discussed, the UV lights, the filtration, they stop being luxuries. They become a life support system.
That is a slightly terrifying but incredibly important point. We're building submarines on land.
We are. And in a submarine, you don't skip on the air scrubbers.
You definitely do not. Well, on that note, I am going to go check my thermostat and maybe take a very cautious peek into my attic.
Don't stay up there too long.
I won't. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. Stay cool and breathe easy.
That's it for today's Meet Sean. If this helped, follow the show and share this episode with one person who needs it. See you next time.